Welcome everybody to our tips and tactics on how to boost your immune system. Now these are a lot of things that I've implemented over the years, things I still do, and then even going over supplements, but mostly it's going to be habits. So habit number one, and most people, this is a really shitty habit, is you don't get enough sleep. The research shows that you need 7 to 9 hours of sleep minimum. If you think you can run on 6, you're essentially going to sacrifice longevity and performance just to try and get another hour or so out of your day. But the research shows, Dr. Matthew Walker's got a great book on why we sleep. Okay, excellent book, great read. He goes into the research of how we've evolved and why Mother Nature and evolution has put this thing called sleep in an 8-hour window, and why it's important for our just overall cognitive function, health. Now, it depends on the individual, where children actually need more sleep, 10 to 12, okay? Teenagers need 9 to 10. And if you think about a lot of teenagers who are doing sports early in the morning and are lopping off the end REM sleep, where most of REM sleep happens is actually the last couple hours, no wonder we have behavior issues and performance issues. And also teenagers, their circadian clock is pushed forward in time, so they want to go to bed later, but they want to sleep in later. And unfortunately, we deem them as lazy when they try to sleep in on the weekend. Meanwhile, they're just trying to restore that sleep that they robbed themselves of during the week. So we can see a huge shift in behavior, as well as ADD, car accidents. It's all in his book. It's an awesome book. Give it a read. Everyone's got time. Okay? Napping. Napping is a nice little supplement through the day. If you only got 7 hours, 7.5 hours, the nap in the afternoon is going to be key. And how you do it is really important. So our circadian rhythm, it dips between 1 and 3 a.m., right? In certain cultures, that siesta time, where in Europe or down in South America, they close all the shops between 1 and 3 p.m. Well, they know biologically that our bodies are slowing down after lunch, where we feel a little sleepy, because our rhythm and our core temperature actually dips. So our metabolic rate dips, our core dips. What we do in North America is we're just like, well, let's just crush a coffee. Let's just ramp that stress hormone back up and we'll try and plow through it. But when you can move with the ebbs and flows of our circadian rhythm and our hormone levels, we can work with them more effectively. So people who are trying to lose weight, one of the key questions I ask, well, what's your sleep like? Well, I'm sleeping 6 hours and I'm working 12 and I'm going to the gym a lot. Well, if you're not sleeping and recovering from stress, you're just spinning your wheels. You're actually going to gain weight because your cortisol is going to be too high, hormones aren't in flux, or they're not in balance, and now you've got this added stress called exercise on top of it, which is just spiking it further. As soon as you get your sleep dialed in, a lot of things fall in line. So sleep is number one. And when we sleep, our immune system goes up. So when we are sleep deprived and our cortisol is too high, it dampens the immune system. So it's going to suppress the natural killer cells, the B cells and the T cells, so nobody's talking to one another, and nobody's catching the pathogens that are floating around in our system, and all of a sudden we go on vacation where we can downregulate and relax. Guess what? Now we're sick. You were already sick before you left. It's just the symptoms are now coming out because your immune system caught it. So it's really important that we have sleep in line. And most of us in Western society, because of lighting and because of artificial light and because of just busy work schedules, blue lights in our face all day, we sacrifice. Oh, I'm going to look at my Instagram one more time before I go to sleep. So then we get this delay in sleep. And blue lights really messes with our circadian. All right, if you're going to do a nap, if you're behind in sleep, you either do a 20 to 25 minute, or, which is going to give you a power nap, you'll wake up before you hit into deeper stages. Or if you blow past that, you got to do a full 1 hour and a half, because we run in about a 1 hour, 30 minute cycle of circadian sleep. So you got to get a full cycle going. If you wake up in the 30 to 40 minute mark, you're gonna wake up feeling groggy because you woke up in the middle of a deep sleep. So power naps, 20, 25 minutes, but full cycle sleep, where you're trying to build back some of that sleep debt that you've created, you're gonna do a full hour and a half. Cool. Breathing. Okay, most of us, I see a lot of people doing this all day. Okay, our nose is meant for breathing, our mouth is meant for eating. Another great book, if you want to reference this, is Patrick McEwen's The Oxygen Advantage. He goes over a lot of the Buteyko method. Buteyko he used breathing to help patients in hospital to reduce their stress and actually help alleviate a lot of their symptoms. Our nose is a filtration system. It's got a mucous membrane to trap viruses and pathogens. It's a smaller hole, so it forces our diaphragm to have to work harder, so we ventilate more effectively. When we breathe through our mouth, we got this bigger hole and we suck in particulates, which, as research has been shown, it takes 4 to 6 hours for it to clear out. So it takes a lot of time for the mucus to kind of push that out. But if we breathe through our nose, it catches it right away. Our nose also produces what's called nitric oxide. So when we breathe through the nose, we are controlling oxygen and carbon dioxide more effectively. And the more carbon dioxide we have in our body, the more nitric oxide releases. Now, what nitric oxide does, it's a relaxing hormone or a relaxing molecule. And what it does is it expands the blood vessels. But it's also a signal to tell the red blood cells, carbon dioxide and nitric oxide, to release the oxygen into the cells. When we have too much oxygen from mouth breathing and we're this chronic hyperventilator, the receptors in our carotid arteries say, well, there's too much oxygen here. We need to close up. Okay, we need to hang on to this oxygen because there's too much. The pH is off, and the balance between the two molecules is off. So actually, what it forces us to do is breathe harder. So what we need to do is we need to breathe less. We need to breathe light to breathe right. Again, quiet breathing through the nose to the point where you can almost barely tell someone's breathing. If you can see somebody breathing and you can hear it, it's too hard. So doing breath holding techniques as well as different breath patterns to help control our pH balance in our body. It also controls our immune system. So Wim Hof breathing, I'm sure everyone's heard of the Iceman, hopefully. I use a Wim Hof style of breath in the morning. I'll go through 3 rounds where it's intentional hyperventilation through the nose, and if I need to, go through the mouth, and then I do breath holds at the end of an exhalation for 1 minute. Breath in, hold for 1 minute, and then it's just normal, quiet breathing. You'll be amazed how calm your mind and your body get just from some intentional hyperventilation. It's because you're intentionally doing it and controlling it, you're playing between the sympathetic and parasympathetic. And then at nighttime, what I'll do is I'll move to a 4-7-8 breath. And this is Dr. Andrew Wheel's breath technique. It's a 4-second inhale, a 7-second hold, and an 8-second exhale. Just 4 rounds. And that's been shown to improve heart rate variability, decrease blood pressure, and decrease heart rate. So I'll do 4 rounds of that as I'm laying in bed to calm down the system. Now, for those of you who have a busy mind, can't get to bed, I'll teach people how to do box breathing. And that's just a 4-second inhale, 4-second hold, 4-second exhale, 4-second hold. And you work your way around for about 5 minutes. And what that does is it slows your breathing rate to about 5 to 6 breaths a minute, as opposed to the regular, potentially 12 to 20. When you're doing this, it's hard for you to think about anything else except breathing and picturing going around a box. So now your mind is come to the present state of what are you doing? Breathing. So box breathing for busy mind, 4-7-8 for kind of stressed out body or stressed out heart, and then an energy breath in the morning. Cool. Now nutrition. There's way too much out there. Now, you can go paleo, you can go keto, you can go vegan, vegetarian, whatever works for you. Now, getting testing done, getting blood work from a naturopath, getting a gut microbiome test to see what kind of enzymes and bacteria you have in your gut. The more testing you do on the front end, even 23andMe, it'll kind of tell you where your heritage is, so you can kind of get an idea of, oh, well, my ancestors ate from this region. They ate a lot of salt, or they ate a lot of fish, or they ate a lot of fermented foods. That's probably where, your majority of your food is going to be coming from in that kind of area or that style of eating. But I want people to be intuitive. Now, if I put something in my mouth and I wait, and I don't chomp down on it and swallow it quickly, if I wait, if it agrees with me, if my system's saying, yeah, I like this, I'll get this lift. I'll feel more energized. Now, if it doesn't agree with me, I'll feel like the energy's being pulled and I want to go to sleep. So if you slow down with your eating, slow down with your chewing, you're also going to get that initial information of what's this doing to my system? Is this giving me energy or is it taking it away? And if it's taking it away, it's probably going to cause some low-level inflammation, and it's not going to be it's not going to work with you, okay? But again, this takes a lot of trial and error and awareness to see what diets work for you. And you use things like energy. What's your energy like? How does it affect my sleep? How does it affect my mood? If you eat something and it makes you feel crabby, probably not working for you very well on the inside, because our external reflects our internal. And if our internal is unhappy and the cells are unhappy, it's going to be reflected with the external. Cool? All right, so I'm not getting into any nutrition stuff, but there's lots of experts out there for that. Now, staying on the nutrition fact, intermittent fasting. I've been doing this for 5 or 6 years now, and it took some progression to get to a 20 to 24 hour fast, and it's a stress. You got to remember it's a stress. Now, in times where there's virus or flu or anything along those lines, just know if intermittent fasting is new to you, it's going to be an added stress. You need to do this slowly. There is a lot of benefits to fasting where it allows the gut to heal. It boosts your immune system to a degree. It does this thing called autophagy, so it allows the cells to turn over and eat up dead proteins. And apoptosis. So apoptosis is the destruction of certain unnatural cells in our body because you starve them out. So abstaining from food for short periods of time is a good thing. Again, research from Dr. Walter Longo, his intermittent fasting protocols are based on cancer research. You've got Dr. Jason Fung. He has the diabetes code. That's his book. His specialty is diabetes. And of course, Ben Greenfield, he talks about intermittent fasting and various types of intermittent fasting or longer fasts for longevity, performance, and overall health. So his book, Boundless, is a great resource for that. It's a textbook, so you're going to kind of want to pick and choose what you want to read out of that. Cool. Timing. So this is the important thing. Most men are going to be fine between a 12 and 16 hour fast because it has to do with hormones. Our hormones stay pretty level through the month and through the year. So we can get away with skipping breakfast more consistently and then extending and then compressing the 8 hour window. Women, you want to make sure, you want to see where you are in your cycle. If you're more on the tail end where progesterone is dominant, skipping breakfast or pushing your first meal later might work for you. But if you're more on the front end where estrogen is dominant, you might want to eat breakfast and then taper off through the day. And women will typically do well on a 10 to 12 hour fast. Anything longer, because hormones are more greatly affected and they fluctuate more, you just might mess around with things there. And again, you're going to go based on how you feel. If you feel good, don't eat. If you feel like I'm really struggling with this, eat. Okay? So use your intuition and pay attention to the signals from your body. Okay, cold and heat exposure. So extreme cold and extreme heat really depends on how you're acclimated to it, because it's a stress. And the point of cold and heat exposure is to have a hormetic response, where a hormesis is you add a stress to the cells or the body. It's enough to disrupt it, but then it has to adapt. But if you cause too much of a stress, there's too much damage or too much overload to the system, and all of a sudden we have to, we take too much time to recover. It's like going to the gym. You haven't been to the gym in a year and you go crush a hard workout. Now you're sore for 5 days. Well, the dose was too much. So therefore you can't work out again for another 5 days until you've recovered. But if you dose it appropriately, so cold exposure, I tell people, just put your feet in the cold water, 30 seconds, shower, and then move up to your legs, and then move up to your body. And it doesn't have to be extreme cold. Again, you're going to see how you're responding. If you like that big hard shock, the colder it is, the shorter the time in the water. So 3 to 5 minutes is what it shows if you're doing a cold full body plunge, anywhere from 35 to I think 42 degrees Fahrenheit, so 3 to 5 degrees Celsius is enough. Anything more than that, you might get the reverse effects, and you might end up causing too much stress in the body and drop out your immune system. All right, but progressive cold exposure over time works really, really well for immune system. Since I've been doing it, my sickness rate has really gone down, and I feel good. I feel good. Heat exposure, so sauna. So it depends on the heat. Hot tub, not going to get hot enough. Plus, warm luke water, bacteria. It feels good on the muscles, but don't expect it to actually have any immune response. Saunas are the best. Dry saunas, old cedar saunas where you're using clean water, and you can increase the steam if you want. Your steam showers, kind of your next one. But the dry sauna is the best because you can get the heat high enough to over 185, where you actually get the stress on the proteins, the cells, creating more heat shock proteins. to actually adapt and get the cleaning effect. So dry sauna for the sweating effect. So he's been using it for centuries as a form of cleansing, metal detoxification, as well as just overall cleaning of the body. Okay. Stress management. Everybody's stressed out these days. So, management strategies, meditation, even just taking some quiet time to relax. Don't listen to music, just listen to the thoughts in your head. You'll be surprised at just by sitting in silence, your brain can close some loops, which can decrease your stress levels. So, if you've got too many windows open on your browser, the computer runs slow and your brain works the same way. And another good way to do this is journal. So, write out what your thoughts are, and you get them on paper, and now your brain can be like, okay, it's on the hard drive here. Cool. For those of you who meditate, it's hard for a lot, but going into breath work, which is the next section we're going over, will help you enter into that more focused state. So using the breathing. So gratitude practice is also great for reducing your stress, because if you're grateful, if you're in the moment of gratitude, it's hard for you to be envious, angry, jealous, resentful, because your heart is opening and it's going to automatically increase heart rate variability and decrease your stress. So doing gratitude early in the morning before bed, it sets the tone for how you're feeling that day, as well as sets the tone for how you're going to sleep. Breath work. Energy and immune boosting. So talking about that Wim Hof method, the hyperventilation, intentional, and then the down regulation using box breathing, which is Mark Devine. He created that, as well as Andrew Wheels 478. It'll help. And then for mental focus, you're going to do a pranayama or alternate nostril. And this helps cycle air through the sinuses and effectively stimulate different parts of the brain. Water. How many of you drink enough water? No, right now I'm drinking coffee. It has water in it. But starting your morning with water to help with detox. Lemon works great. I know a lot of people have different recipes, but warm water and lemon in the morning helps kickstart enzymes in your liver for detoxification, but also helps settle the gut. For myself, especially, having water straight in the morning, especially cold water, it actually upsets my stomach. So having warm water with lemon actually makes it settle. So lemon is essentially acidic, but once it hits the gut, it actually converts into alkalinity. So people who have a little bit of digestive issues, or if the acid levels are too high in the morning, lemon water is really nice for settling that down. But you have to be able to drink enough water through the day. Keeping a bottle there as a reminder, setting a timer is key, because you need your 72 to 75% water. If you're not, even just being dehydrated, 1% is going to drop out your immune system. You can't clean out toxins. You can't support the livers and the organs and whatnot, and therefore your stress levels are up. Okay. Awareness. So just increasing overall awareness. How many of you know how many times you touch your face in the day, or what you're touching, or what you're putting your hands on? I'm sure we're paying attention to it more now, but they did a study in the journal, it's an observational study in 2015 on medical students, and they observed that they touch their face 23 times per hour. So touching their eyes, where mucous membranes are, nose, mouth, that's per hour. So, and then they categorized it on average, each of the 26 observed students touched their face 23 times. Of all face touches, 44% involved contact with a mucous membrane, whereas 56% of contacts involved the non-mucosal area. So you're touching your face 23 times an hour, times that by 20, 4,600 times a day. You know, I mean, I'm doing it over a 20-hour period, but we may be doing it, at nighttime. But that's a lot. So just being mindful of what you're putting your hands on and then what you're touching is very, very key to preventing from sickness. And then even just paying attention to our daily habits. If we're sitting too much, if we are unconsciously putting the potato chips in the mouth because we're stressed out, paying attention to those things and those habits can also help bring in a total wellness and health and wellness perspective, as well as improving your immune system. All right, the weather's starting to change, so it's time to get outside. Getting natural light in the eyes, especially at certain times in the morning, later in the morning and then early in the afternoon, it helps with our circadian rhythm. And if our circadian rhythm, which is our internal clock of telling us when to sleep and when to stay awake, if we can keep that in check, because light is one of those main signals, food, light, and exercise are the three main, what are called zeitgebers. Those are signals to tell your clock whether it's time to downregulate, go to sleep, or whether it's time to wake up. So getting natural light, sunlight in your eye, not directly in your eyes, don't stare at the sun, but just no sunglasses, you can wear a hat, but getting that morning sunlight for at least 20-30 minutes will help really reset the circadian clock. And it also has mood boosting properties to it too. The weather's getting warmer, let your skin get some sun exposure. It has photoreceptors in it that will also help with the overall well-being. So coming back to outside earthing and grounding, there is good research to show that being connected to the earth will reduce our stress, our blood pressure, and our heart rate. What they found is because the earth is electrically charged with negative ions, and when we have stress and inflammation in our body, it creates too many positive ions. When we have direct contact with the earth, it actually has an exchange, so we can uptake a lot of the negative ions, which are anti-inflammatory by nature. And they've done this with blood work underneath electron microscope, where patients who have what's called a rouleau effect, where the blood cells are kind of stacked like coins and they're all sticky. After about 20 minutes of earthing, they separate and they get their halos back. So they all separate. So it has a blood thinning effect, which is essential because when the cells are stacked, they can't get in to the small arterioles or the small vessels because only one cell at a time can get through. So earthing, which we used to do hundreds of years ago, we're connected to the earth, we're not connected anymore. So it's really important that we get outside and hug a tree. Your gut health. The intermittent fasting will help reset gut health. So it's just like a muscle, it needs rest. It does best when it's short bursts of exercise and a lot of recovery time. So coming back to the intermittent fasting, it'll allow the gut lining to heal, it'll allow the enzymes to restore, but if you're constantly shoving food in your pie hole, your stomach's constantly churning out food, and then all of a sudden it's not done with that, and you shove some more food down there, well, now it's just like, well, we gotta push through that first meal without fully digesting it, and because we've got new stuff to come in. So giving your guts time to digest previous food is important. You can also do things, fermented foods for probiotics, kimchi, sauerkraut, miso, bone broth for the glycine, the glycerine, and the collagen also has really, really good gut healing properties. And if Brandon is kind enough to send me, he can email me his bone broth recipe, I will put that into some notes. If anybody wants these notes with some of the cited materials and all the books that I've been talking about, I'll put the recipe in there for you. And then lastly, and there's lots more, but I'm just going over some 12 basic ones of habits and things that we can do. Connect with your friends and family. I know we are at a time where we're doing social distancing, but it's no reason to do social disconnecting. We can still stay connected. Pick up the phone, call people. Texting, not going to do the same. Physically talking to somebody, even visual, is going to be more beneficial on your health than a couple texts here. It doesn't have the same connectivity. And when we look at the data from the blue zones, the number one factor that they found across all these blue zones, so blue zones are where people live who are over 100 years old, and they have the high centenarians, is connectivity and culture, or connectivity and community. So they have strong community ties and strong family bonds. That seems to be one of the main factors for living a long, healthy, and happy life. Cool. Does anybody have any questions so far? So I'm going to scroll through. Don't pour water on electric elements. Yep, don't do that. That's bad. Just scrolling through here. Nope, no questions so far. Cool. Okay, so we're going to move into supplements. Now, I'm not prescribing anything. These are supplements that I use on a regular basis. Supplements that I've researched that I found work for me. But I've done blood work, and I've done hormone panels with my naturopath, and found that I have some deficiencies with certain things. So I take certain supplements to upregulate those deficiencies. So, disclosure, out of the way. I'm not prescribing anything. Go do your own research, go do your own testing, find out what you need. Got it? Cool. All right. Number one, a daily multivitamin and a multi-mineral. Now, it's really important. There's lots of them out there, but you want to make sure that, one, it's got good quality control where it actually has what it has in it. Absorption rate is key. And how it's processed. It should be cold processed. If anything's heated, it's destroyed. It's garbage. Okay? So, how do I know about absorption? So, if you can put it in lukewarm water and it dissolves in 15 to 20 minutes, it's going to absorb in your body. So it's being broken down. There are some multivitamins out there, I'm not going to name them, that have a shellac on it, a plastic coating, and we call those bedpan pills. What will happen is you take the vitamin, it doesn't dissolve, and it comes out the other end. So you just wasted your money. But the good thing is you can take it again if you really want to. So you're kind of saving money that way. But it's really important that it dissolves in just water. Because then you know, even if you have low acid in your stomach, it's still going to get broken down effectively. Full disclosure, I like the USANA brand. Full disclosure, I am affiliated with them. But do your own research, find out what vitamins that you like and what works best for you. Okay, but find out what you're deficient in is the best thing rather than just kind of guessing. All right. Vitamin C. So everyone knows about vitamin C and how important it is. Humans are one of 4 mammals that actually can't produce our own. So we got primates, which we're part of, I guess, guinea pigs, and fruit bats. So every other mammal can produce, when they're in time of sickness or disease or ill health, they can produce their own vitamin C levels, and they ramp it up to extreme levels so that they can cope with the stress. So, but what we have to do is we have to supplement. Now, for those of you who are insulin sensitive or insensitive, eating a lot of fruit's not really a good option. So just consuming chewable vitamin C's. If you have absorption issues with vitamin C, which I did, you can take more of a liposomal, so better absorption. So, but I'll do anywhere from 2,000 to 4,000 a day on a regular basis. If I'm sick, I'll go up to 8,000 to 10,000 milligrams. Okay, so 10 grams. But because my body just apparently I either use it up or I don't absorb it very effectively, I need to ramp this up. Okay, so chewable or swallow, whatever you like. So the multivitamins that I take, this is a multivitamin, multi-mineral, okay? And what you need to understand that minerals and vitamins will tend to compete with one another. So to have them in the same pill, are you getting it all? I don't know. But when it's formulated properly and you reduce the competition between the two, you're just going to get better overall absorption. So that's something that you need to be aware about. Vitamin D, especially D3. Now the sun's coming out. Hopefully, we can get some sunshine on our skin. That's really the best way to get your vitamin D, your vitamin D3. It essentially acts like a hormone in our body. But if you can't, a D3 with a K2 for absorption. Now, depending on the person, some people who take too much vitamin D can have calcium absorption issues and potentially cause calcification. The recommendations that they used to do before, it was 1,000 milligrams per 25 pounds. However, that's changed because of the absorption issues in certain individuals and ethnicities. So again, getting your vitamin D levels checked. When I had mine checked, I was kind of right where my naturopath wanted me. And at that point I was taking 8,000 a day. So, and blood pressure and arteries and cholesterol and everything had to do with arterials was fine. So no concerns there, but that's what worked for me. But doing a K2, 100 micrograms, what do we got here? Where is it? Just a K2, so 100 micrograms. Stack that up with your vitamin D, okay, so that you know you're gonna get better absorption. Okay, omega-3s and CoQ10. So I take a CoQ10 because for cardiac and mitochondrial health. When I got my testing done, my mitochondria were not producing the NAD that I needed. So I was taking NR. I'll talk about that in a second. Omega-3s, I'll do 2 to 3 grams per day, just the anti-inflammatory properties. A big portion of your brain is made of DHA, okay? So 40% of the brain is fat, essentially. So getting those good, clean fats for cell repair, brain repair, neural repair, all those cardiovascular. So, and if you want to know if you get a good one, do a freezer test. So if it's full of fillers and you put it in the freezer overnight, if it comes back cloudy, that's garbage. There's nothing good in there. If it still comes back clear, then you know you got a good one. And it should not smell fishy. If it smells fishy, it's rancid. So it should not smell fishy, and it should stay clear with the freezing test. Cool? And again, USANA's got a good one. NutriC's got a good one. But these guys are good. Have a little coffee. Now, coffee and tea. If you're sick, don't drink coffee. Coffee will increase stress and cortisol, which is fine for the morning, and that's when we should take it, but we want cortisol to drop out through the end of the day. So having coffee later in the day, for a lot of people, not a good idea. But I found, even if I'm getting a scratchy throat, coffee just tastes gross. Like, it just doesn't taste right. So that's your body saying, no, this is not the beverage or the thing you should be consuming, even though there's a lot of health properties to it. Go to the teas. So hot liquids are great, and making sure that the teas and the coffees where you're getting them is good. Again, I like, everyone who knows me, I like my Organic Gold stuff. It's got the reishi mushroom in there, so it's an immune modulator. It also decreases the acidity of the coffee, so it tastes a little bit smoother, and it's instant. So it's a nice instant sachet, and it tastes really good. When I'm sick, I'll either go to the red tea or the green tea, so that they have all kinds of polyphenols in it for immune system and mitochondria. The red tea actually has cordyceps, so for cardiovascular health, and they did studies where endurance athletes in the Olympics, they took cordyceps and improved their recovery times. Cool. Coming into, so we're gonna go down the line here. I don't know if you can see this. I got my CoQ10. I take a True Niagen NR, so nicotinamide riboside, which is a precursor for NAD. NAD is created or needed in our mitochondria to create ATP. Now, when I did my testing, I was really low in CoQ10, as well as my ATP production wasn't as good as I liked it to be. So just an NR, this is a True Niagen. I like their stuff. It's just a one a day, and it's just for mitochondrial health. Dr. David Sinclair, he wrote Lifespan. He is all of his research is on longevity and improving overall health. However, he talks about NR, resveratrol, and a couple other molecules that will actually improve longer lifespans. Now, you can actually increase these with exercise, fasting, and decreasing your protein intake. But when you're trying to perform, you want that balance between performance and longevity. So supplementing with a couple of these guys, not a bad idea. Resveratrol is relatively inexpensive, and this is the main antioxidant in red wine. But red wine does not have enough in it you have to drink too much. You're gonna have to drink a lot of red wine, but then you're gonna get the negative effects of alcohol. So supplement, I just found these guys on Amazon. I really like their stuff, so it's good. And then for immune support, I'll dose up a little extra zinc every other day, because if you do too much zinc and magnesium, it can give you this thing called little disaster pants, so you'll need to titrate that slowly, okay? Coming back to Organos products, I like the Organoderma. So this is just the powder form in the capsule. So I'll do 2 in the morning, 2 midday, 2 at night. Again, for its antioxidant properties, as well as anti-inflammatory. But this has been clinically proven, reishi mushroom's been clinically proven to increase natural killer cell activity. So you want that in times of sickness especially. USANA's got their pro-glucamine. So it's got, again, they have their own Ganoderma blend in it, zinc. So immune support, I don't know if you can see that, as well as their proflavanol C. So it's just it's a different blend of vitamin C, potassium, and zinc. Coming into downregulating relaxation, I will use lion's mane in the morning, Okay, neurogenesis, I want my brain firing on all cylinders. Ashwagandha at night to downregulate. So you want, this is a relaxation mushroom. Again, these are both mushrooms. They do great, great things for the mind and the body. Magnesium, this is something that most of us are deficient in. We burn it up because of the oxidative stress that we incur, as well as our diets are really high in omega-6, and if we are high in omega-6, then we end up using up a lot of magnesium to buffer the inflammation caused by that. So one, reducing the omega-6 intakes, so a lot of your seed oils and your plant oils, and then increasing magnesium. You'll know if you take too much of this, because again, you'll be going to the bathroom a little bit more than usual. Okay, so titrate that as needed. And then lastly, I will use spirulina. It's just a blue-green algae. The antioxidant properties of this, the inflammatory properties of this, it's one of those superfoods that I just take every day, and I give it to my kids in their shake with chlorella for a detox. And then the last thing that I'll do is our shake. Again, when you're looking at some kind of shake or whey protein, make sure it's cold processed. New Zealand's great. I like Organos. It tastes great. There's no fillers in it, and it's a meal replacement. So it's not just a whey protein, but they do a vitamin profile on the back. Cool? So you can see the vitamins dissolve nicely, so I know that's going to break down in my stomach quite effectively. So there's lots of books and reading that you can do over this time period. I will put all these into notes. If you are interested in it, email me or DM me directly, and I will send you the notes for this whole talk, so you can kind of go step by step of what we went over. Does anybody have any questions? Do you have any tips for adjusting intermittent fasting windows for someone who changes shifts? Yeah, so intermittent fasting for shift workers is tricky, and it depends on. So my police officers who do 2 days, 2 nights, and then 4 off, it gets tricky because you're expecting your body to completely shift the clock within 48, 72 hours. The days that you are recovered, so I'll use your intermittent fasting days that you're on regular days. I would skip morning and then start feeding later. If you're on nights because you need to switch that clock over, I would just stop eating. So if you're on a midnight shift, so say from 8 to 4 in the morning, I wouldn't eat anything after 12, and I would try to extend that window later into the day. It gets tricky because you are constantly messing around with your circadian rhythm and your hormones essentially. But days that you feel good, extend the fast. Days that you're just dragging, you need more sleep, don't add that stress to your system. That's a day, you know what, I'm just gonna eat, I need to refuel, I need to regulate my energy levels. So don't fast those days because it will make you feel shittier. So go based on how you feel, all right? That's the best way to do it with shift workers. You can still do it, but you won't be able to do it as long or as hard as most people who have a regular work day that can control those factors of light day cycles. Because remember, all those are gonna play a factor into it. I hope that answers your question. Anything I missed? Oh, Sam, what are the benefits of taking K2? So K2, it just helps with vitamin D absorption. That's the main reason why you take it. I'm trying to think of can't off the top of my head think of what foods it comes in. Great book for nutrition. Genius Foods by Max Legavere. I can never say his name. Legavere. Okay. We'll talk about that, as well as Headstrong by Dave Asprey. Okay. Those 2 books, it talks a lot about supplements, what they do. So if you are more interested in nutrition and supplementation and overall performance, these are 2 great resources. When it comes to your morning routine, this is a book I've been crushing, the 5 a.m. Club. Setting up the first hour of your day. Win the morning, you win the day. Okay, that answers your question. Some breathing books. Oxygen Advantage by Patrick McEwen. This is a great one. It's a great reference. Just Breathe by Dan Brule. He goes over a lot of different techniques and how to do them. And then you got the Iceman, Wim Hof. Okay, if you want to learn how to do that and doing the cold exposure. That's awesome. And then PMF, the fifth element, talks a lot about earthing, grounding, as well as Clint Ober's book, which is Earthing. Cool. And then, of course, Why We Sleep. This was a great book. So good. They're all great books. But you can listen to their podcasts. Matthew Walker's been on The Drive with Peter Attia multiple times. Rhonda Patrick's, Ben Greenfield's, Dave Asprey. And you hear him speak, and all of a sudden you hear the British accent as you're reading this, and the language that he uses is great. So that is all I have for you guys. Oh, that was 40 minutes, longer than I thought. Hopefully I didn't bore you. And if you have any questions, let me know. Shoot me a message. If you want the notes and the links and the resources to all these things, where to get supplements, I'll put that in the notes, and I will email it to you directly. I hope everyone is keeping busy and staying healthy during this time. Spend some time with family. If you're a business owner, learn to adapt and try and find other ways to run your business. It's working quite well. For those of you who need physio, we are doing telehealth, okay? I'm going to be doing, over the next couple weeks, I'm going to be doing regular look after your shoulders, look after your backs, pain. But if you need one-on-one time, we are doing telehealth. I've done it today. It works great, okay? Concept of movement, we have the best movement therapists around. We can analyze movement, we can get to your root cause, and we don't even have to touch you. We just have to look at you, and we teach you how to do it on your own. So now you're empowered to look after your own self, know how to screen out and fix your own body, all right? So we're gonna be doing that. All of our therapists are all synced up and trained up. So if you are currently seeing us, continue to see us. If you need us, if you have a lot of tools, great, do it, but don't walk around in pain. If you know friends or family who are suffering, we can help them. Even though the doors are closed physically, we are here to provide our service. Okay, I hope everybody has a great day, and we will talk soon. Check my Instagram for upcoming little lectures. All right, take care. And end.